Hello and welcome. This is going to be another divine partnership coaching video. And what I want to talk about, it's just briefly, and I'll do some more videos about it later, is how to stop obsessing about your twin. And I was thinking about it, and I mean, there are a lot of, at least from what I've seen, there are a lot of other readers and twins that will talk about needing to get there, but not a lot of people who talk about how the heck do you get there. And there's already enough problems with not obsessing over other people or what people think about or care about. And it's not just twins, with family and stuff like that, when you've not yet healed your attachment traumas. And so that's definitely that's a good place to go. But even to get there is the same thing that you'd want to go towards with your twin. And twin flames are very particular. Soulmates can have it too, but twin flames, it's even stronger. And especially with a telepathic connection, is that you're having an extra hard time not thinking about them. And when you include in the fact that half the time when you think that you're obsessing about them, you're picking up on thoughts from them thinking about you, and that's confusing and requires like discernment in terms of empathic abilities, etc. There's a lot of little pieces. It's like one of those like 2,000 piece jigsaw puzzles sort of thing. Like you kind of got to start at the corners and okay, I've got the corners, and then you got to figure out somewhere in the middle, okay, I think this is a part of the picture, and look at the box and go to the back of it. Like it's you're not alone in feeling like it is a big task. And it's not really, but that's how it feels until you've completed the puzzle, and then you're like, oh, that really wasn't as hard as I made it out to be. Though, I'll tell you, the first most helpful thing that you could do that I found with most anything, but in terms of not obsessing about your twin, it's to simply accept that you're going to think about your twin a lot. And there's, in fact, that which we resist persists. So if you feel like you're obsessing, or you fear that you're obsessing, or you worry that you're fantasizing, or you're constantly thinking about, is this a 5D communication? Is this telepathy? Is this empathy? Is this me? Am I just crazy? What does this mean? Like, you're resisting it, and so it is persisting and it is growing. And that often leads to like reaching out at times that aren't quite appropriate, or allowing them back in a lot sooner, or getting back into the runner chaser things, or either over talking about them to other people, or trying to hold it all in because you don't want people to think that you're obsessing. So just stop. Just stop doing that, and just own that you love them and that you think about them a lot, and work your way down just a little bit from there. And don't try to jump from, don't, you, as Abraham says, you can't get there from there. You have to start at a certain space. So start in the corner, right? You're going to think about them a lot. When you can accept that you're just going to think about them a lot, it gets away from obsession. Then you're not holding yourself in this place of constantly worrying about how much you worry or how much you think about them. And then you can go down from there and recognize that you love them. And that the hard thing is when they're wrapped up in karmic situationships, whether that's romantic or work or whatever, or family or friends or anything, even if it's just stinking thinking or addictions and things like that, that they're not going to confirm that for you. They're not going to validate that for you. Sometimes they'll even tell you, they'll put on the biggest masks, especially if they got themselves into a karmic situationship, or if you were together before, a rebound of some sort. They're already feeling really, in most cases, they were disloyal. And so they're already feeling the ego hit to that. And they're trying to give the karmics what they know that they should have given to you. And part of that, a lot of that's subconscious, but they're trying to give the impression that they have grown and that they weren't ever that bad. And they're doing a lot of ego shadow work in there. And so they may give their loyalty to these other people and even tell you, I don't want you, I want to move on, I want to do this, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want this. But there are lots of ways, for one thing, to see through that BS. But the real truth is no matter whether you ever get any sort of verbal, like 3D confirmation that they genuinely love you, you don't need that permission to love them. Now, you can't just like say, I love you and so you're mine and I'm going to interfere with a whole bunch of stuff. No, that's creepy, and that's that goes into bad territory. But you can control your own feelings. You can love whoever you want. You can love in whatever way that you want. You can think about whoever you want. You can journal about whoever you want. You can talk about whoever you want. You can be whoever you want. You don't need anybody's permission to do that. You don't need their permission to do that. You don't need anybody's consent to love somebody. You do need their consent to be in their physical presence, to be at their house, to involve them in something. You need their consent to be, to do anything that would actually affect them. Well, that would affect them. And the funny truth is while loving them does affect them in a way that it's very likely that you are the only person who is like loving them without conditions and things like that, but that only has positive effects, especially if you are staying out of the drama and you're working on your own stuff and you're not involving yourself in their healing work. Your healing work is your healing work. Their healing work is their healing work. And oftentimes, if we're obsessing about somebody, it's because we need to do healing work in terms of allowing ourselves permission to love who we love and to not need to have it confirmed in 3D, which will actually help you get to the point where you can love yourself unconditionally, which is, for me, part of what the twin flame journey is about. And a lot of people will tell you that. The twin flame journey is about learning self-love. You are partnered with somebody that will challenge and trigger you in all sorts of manner of ways to learn to trust yourself, to learn to love yourself, to learn to respect yourself, to have healthy boundaries, to look at your own crazy and your own BS and to become accountable and authentic, etc. And so when it comes to this, when you can give yourself permission to love them, even if you're not getting confirmation, even if you can't be with them, even if others may think that you're silly and it's nonsense, you can start to learn to give yourself permission to love yourself, no matter whether anybody else agrees with it. And that's where it really matters and it really counts. And when you can get to that place where you love yourself, no matter what shadows or light you're going through, then you're doing the real self-healing, and that will cause them to do that self-healing and to learn to love themselves. And that's when you get closer to union, because loving them is great. And I want you to give yourself permission to do that. But they can love you, like you guys can reflect that. They can love you and still choose somebody else, just like you can love them and still choose somebody else. Or you can, or in this matter, you can choose to love them rather than moving on to what the court of public opinion would deem as a healthier relationship. Like, you can still choose that and still not be healed and still not be, it's a step. It's a corner of the big jigsaw puzzle, but it's not all of it. And so, but when you get to the place where you are giving yourself permission to love yourself and to laugh at yourself when you get into ego and you go into these weird cycles and stuff, and when you give yourself permission to know what you know and to recognize that your DM or DF absolutely loves you no matter what sort of absurdities that they say, you can also give yourself permission to love yourself even when you go into the other dimension and have ego moments and things like that. And that, not only, like, it just for its own sake just feels freaking wonderful. It's a power without being a power, and it's something that helps other people learn to do that. And as you focus on that, you obsess less about your partner, your twin, and you notice that they grow and you notice that they're getting there, and then you find that you're not obsessing at all, and that, yeah, you still have plenty of thoughts about them throughout the day. You get weird communications, but you start to be able to discern the difference between, is this them thinking about me? Is it me thinking about them? Is it communication from my guides? Is it 5D? Is it 3D? Is it this and that? And you're not worried about it. You're not like, oh my gosh, they haven't talked to me all day or all week, or it's been a month, or, you stop counting the days so much. You stop looking at it, and then you're just enjoying, like, the thunderclaps in between, or the counting the thunder with claps in between to see how far the recent storm is or how close it is, and you're enjoying all the synchronicities that come up when you least expect them, and you're trusting and you're having faith in the universe and yourself, and you're laughing about how obsessed that you used to be, and now how you actually enjoy how much you think about them and you and all the absurdities of life. All right, I'm going to leave this here. Let me know if you have any specific questions, or I'm in a peppy mood today, so if this was a little too fast, let me know. You can control that in the video controls and slow it down, but I am happy to slow my videos down to, or my speaking rate down in future videos if this was a little too fast paced. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and all your great comments, and I'll see you in the next video.